All right, my humans, it is October 29th, 2025, and here we are on day 15th of the launch of the IC solution, where I am officially using the IC goal tracker. What is the IC, you ask? It's your instinctual core. And I'm going to give you a quick summary on that because today is an important day. We've got a lot of progress, but if you don't understand what the heck the IC is and the IC solution is, this won't mean anything to you. It probably won't mean anything to you anyway, because this is just my daily meetings. One day you will hopefully be in your own daily meetings to get yourself better. I'm going to give you a quick summary all the same, so I'm popping that up on the screen. This is the default perspective of how we humans generally think of ourselves and what's going on inside of our brain, where we are all the thoughts, all the emotions, and all the behaviors that comes out of those thoughts and emotions, and we are all that's encompassed. We are everything. That's just the default perspective we're born with. That just comes as we gain our consciousness, and just kind of the way things are, unless we start to think about it. Now, the IC perspective takes into account a lot of science, but it really simplifies it for those lay people out there like myself who don't understand the intricacies of all of everything, not neurology, psychology, and whatnot. I've dug deep into it and then come back out to figure out a way that we can think about it as normies, right? So this is the IC perspective, the instinctual core perspective, where you are your consciousness along with your conscious brain. And then there is a vast subconscious brain that's pretty much running the show 90% of the time. If this is infected with the wrong stuff, you're going to be doing the wrong stuff all the time. But what's infecting it with the wrong stuff is the instinctual core. And the instinctual core is basically a culmination of all your survival instincts that work along with your subconscious brain, also called the system one brain in behavioral economics. This is a very powerful, very fast, but very dumb brain. And that totally worked out in prehistoric times because it was adapted to that world. But now in this modern world where we have so much abundance and so much stuff and so many people, it just doesn't understand what the heck's going on. And it is lighting off fireworks in our head, just going crazy. But as we learn to understand what it's doing, we can start to train it. We can start to gain back our subconscious. And that's the whole point of the IC perspective, which is an experiment you take on to start getting better through the IC solution. So that's my quick 5-minute elevator pitch when it maybe it's supposed to be the 5-second elevator pitch, but that's not the point. The point is, if you've seen any of my other videos, Frank here used to be two stocks. So it's a really sad day. Stock two of Frank, one came this way and one went out that way. Stock two has had to be retired. It started growing a little bit of brown down at the bottom, and over a couple months, no matter how much I water it or didn't water it, and it just didn't make it. We had to let it loose, and hopefully Frank 1 can thrive on his own now that he's not being crowded out by that dead guy. I pulled it out, not much root system there at all, but that is totally off topic. Let's get back on topic, and I want to talk about what we would talk about in the goals is investigating how our instinctual core is keeping us from achieving the goals that we want in life. So in order to do that, we've got to set overriding goals. And we do that here on this page called the IC Goal Tracker. These are our overriding decisions. These are the things that we decide with our consciousness and our conscious brain. And all the rest of the nonsense that's been floating around in the chaos of the subconscious, that's been infected by the instinctual core, that's not working right in today's world, is now up for question. The only thing that is true are our overriding decisions. And when we follow those overriding decisions, knowing that everything else is a lie, and that we can question and retrain and get back our subconscious, the overriding decisions become our goals. And when you're working on more than one goal at once, which I've discussed every day, is I suggest you start with the goal of separate from your instinctual core. If you're just working on one goal, then I just want you to work on that one goal, like something, the bottleneck in your life, the really important one. Quit drinking, for instance. That was the big one for me. For 8 years, I almost put myself in the grave many, many times. I'm so lucky to be alive, and it's because I discovered the IC solution. This is the only thing that worked for me, the only thing that saved my life. Okay, but I am working on several goals here, and one of them being separate from your instinctual core. I set that up when you're working on more than one, because I want us to remember that as we're working on these goals, the most important thing is that we're starting to visualize that separation in our head, where there's actually a separate entity going on in your head. It's like a co-pilot who's trying to get you to fly in the totally opposite direction. So when you separate from your instinctual core, and the way I do that is each day I try to flip one monotonous or cumbersome task, something that I would usually consider a monotonous or cumbersome task, into an exciting event each day. Therefore, turning something that would usually suck, because the instinctual core, is there to make you do shit because it's going to help you to survive. Not because it's fun, not because it's wonderful, not because life is great. It's to live. And so one of those things, the one I flipped yesterday, was making dinner. And I don't like cooking, but I was going to cook. And I had a great healthy squash and lamb chops that I was making. And I enjoyed every step of it, trying to get it right, put the right sauces on, make the squash all squashy and mashy, whatever. I'm not a fantastic cook, but I thoroughly enjoyed the process. And that is through deactivating my instinctual core, because it's trying to tell me just get it done so you can get that food in you, and saying, I'm going to enjoy this, reactivating my human side, the layers of human happiness. We'll get into all that. We do get into all that in all sorts of marketing support videos, and we'll get into that in individual meetings. But for me, these individual meetings are helping me to keep myself accountable until the actual meetings start, but also, which flows nicely into our second goal, overcome anxiety. Now, when I was in the darkest depths of alcoholism, my alcoholism actually started because of my social anxiety. But I've gotten rid of so much of that. I can walk around totally free on this planet, walk into any room and feel comfortable around everyone, which is so awesome, because I just couldn't do that. I walked in and I had to start. There's this thing inside of me that sized up everyone and said, oh, that person's better than me. I'm better than that person. And it was just disgusting. But that's what the instinctual core does, because where it came from in a prehistoric world, you had to know. It had to know what threats there were. And someone above you in the pecking order was a certain threat that could get you killed, thrown out of your tribe, or just straight up kill you. But that's not the way it is today. I can walk into any place and not give a shit what other people think about me. Not that I don't care about them. I can care about them, but don't worry about if that care comes back. So, but that became a different situation when I started talking to the camera, because I'm new to this. This is just day 15 of me talking to the camera. But on day one, I pretty much wanted to throw up, because it was just an over-amplified version of what that social anxiety today, because that instinctual core sees you, little camera, as 8 billion people, because the instinctual core is an idiot. It's not adapted to this world. It sees the camera as speaking to the entire tribe, and the entire tribe of this planet is 8 billion, because it has the potential to reach a lot of people. So I'm just assuming that I should, and then I'm assuming I'm jumping to the top of it's assuming that I'm jumping to the top of the tribe, making a mess of things, and every time I babble or blabble my words, then I'm an idiot, I'm being laughed at, and I'm going to die. It literally looks at it as a survival threat. I'm getting totally used to it. The fear is just pretty much totally gone. And I'm doing really well on this. In fact, I'm going to give myself a radar quick catch. A radar quick catch is when I catch the IC in motion trying to beat fear, trying to send fear towards me. But when you go through the radar process, that's actually an acronym where you can originally start to figure out why the IC is acting up, dissect it, and retrain it. Okay, starting something new. Starting something new is also a big thing for the instinctual core. It does not, and this new thing I'm starting is this IC solution, launching it to the world. And it does not, first of all, It does not want me getting out of the off the couch if I don't have to, because it wants me saving my energy for when there's an actual threat to my survival. On top of it, it doesn't want me starting an IC solution where I'm going to tell people where I'm trying to give advice to people because it tells me that I'm a loser and I shouldn't be giving the advice to anyone and I'm at the bottom of the pecking order. But I don't believe it anymore. I'm just a person speaking to other people. That's the way I see it. The instinctual core sees it the exact opposite. And but I'm retraining it to shut the hell up. And the more and more I don't listen to it, the quieter and quieter it gets, and the more and more of my subconscious that I get back, so I can start to act in the routines without having the fears and whatnot. And while I when I do these two things, I should go back up because I'm tracking what's going on here. And for the overcome video fear, I'm making a bunch. Some days I'm making up to 3 or 4 videos. Yesterday it was my plan. On the weekends, just I come in and do the meetup. But on the weekdays, I'm trying to get in at least 2 additional videos. But yesterday was a specific day where I told you in the meeting that I had to get some of the older videos, the not older video, but the instructional videos and the quick start guide and the pitch on the homepage. I wanted to get them revamped, and so I spent the whole day working on that and hiring something to professional videographer. So they're working on that. That made great progress, but I am going to get back to my 2 videos today. And one of the big ones I'm going to hit is the radar and roar for my alcoholism, which is the one I'm going to use in the IC University to teach people an example, basically how my instinctual core was firing off on all its layers of where it's trying to get me to survive. And I've learned how to pretty much let it pass through me until now it doesn't scream at me at all. At all. I shouldn't say at all. It never stops screaming. It's still trying to do its thing, but it just down to a whisper. And then I might get to 2 more. I definitely want to get to the one I was an alcoholic before my first drink, which you might find interesting. And smoking is not your fault. Okay, so I'm doing this one now. And yesterday I did post on YouTube the daily, but that is not one that needs to go on the website. So great. Now for the next part, the routine. This is basically what I keep to make sure I'm monitoring myself. Um, and I this morning I got up at 5:02 a.m., which that part showing you that picture is part of the tracking of my nutrition. I got my meals ready for the day, kind of got the house in order, igniting the mind. I did my first review. You don't need to worry about that one. Just I should have done these things before I got on. I did some focus meditation and got organized. Yeah, this is something I always want to do before I get on, but I kind of got sidetracked and forgot I didn't. So now here I am on the meeting at 9:30, but it's at 8:46, and I wanted to put that, and I've been talking for 13 minutes, so that subtraction 8:33 is when I started, which I want to start by 9:10. And look, I haven't been doing that. I want to get back to start doing that. 8:33. That's one of my check-ins. Am I starting to do my videos before 9? And when I am, that's fantastic. Yesterday, look, I've been forgetting to do that, and I'd forgetting that's the 2 checkpoints. Am I working out by 5 a.m.? Am I doing my videos by 9 a.m.? If I'm doing those 2 things, I've got all the scary work, all the hard work and the scary work out of the way by about noon. And then I'm free just to make improvements in the rest, or maybe even have a little leisure time. Okay, so unhealthy nutrition, I'm tracking that as well, along with tracking the exercise program. And this morning, I did a radar quick catch for sure when I woke up and the alarm went off at 4, the second alarm went off at 4:30 because yesterday I didn't promise, I'd forgotten that one of my most important metrics was to make sure that I am in the gym by 5:02 a.m. And we'll go over to the tracking of that, ideal nutrition, and check it out. This morning, 5:02 a.m., and I have a picture to prove it. Here's my picture of One Life, October 29th at 5:02 a.m. It's getting a little cold, so I'm slowly moving back into the gym, coming from the outside, where I'll spend the next couple months or on the lousy days. And then I got my, I'm supposed to do that. I got my 56 core and shoulders. I did sprints. Haven't done my cold plunge, which I need to get back to since I don't have any injuries right now, but the knee is starting to act up a little bit. I got back down to 181. You see, when I kind of my fall from grace last Wednesday and Thursday, I was at 180, and that just 2 day fall packed on some weight. It's crazy. But now I'm almost back to there. I hope to be back by 180. So basically 2 days of off diet, and I was taking a real easy workout week this week because I was doing a race on Saturday. So basically a fall for me is going to be about a week. And it's crazy. That's what happens when you're 52. But overall, I'm improving in my pull-ups. I'm up to 26 from a low of 20. This 15 was not like when I was maxing out. Yeah, and I'll get some push-ups in on Thursday to see where I am at that. I've already gone from 65 to 81, trying to get to 110. And enough about that. Yeah, but I've been eating perfect since then. So cool. And then, so we've got the four goals all held together by the fifth goal of separate from your instinctual core. And then down here at the measly old bottom with a priority one rather than a priority of 1011. The priority one is overcome alcohol addiction. And I just put this here to keep on tracking myself, and I like to get some radar quick catches, but they really don't happen. My brain isn't screaming at me to go get a drink anymore, and that is fantastic because I've totally trained that out. Even if I go through times when there's false fears or false threats coming at me, the solution that the IC used to beg for, go get a drink, 7,000 a day, go get a drink, go get a drink, it just doesn't come. It's totally gone, which is such a frickin' miracle because it was so persistent and so loud. And yeah, should be dead. So that's all I got. 18 minutes, went a little over time, but I would love to start doing these meetings with you, going over your goals, setting, and so showing you a breakdown of how the IC is working in you. And it's not going to work for everyone, but I think it's going to work for a shit ton of people. So let's get the news out there. Um, you can like this video, you can subscribe, but these are just these aren't really the pure educational ones. The ones that are more marketing support come from the ones that I'm going to do after this. Okay, but most importantly, jump on over to the Instinct Center and just at the homepage, you can watch my video of how the IC solution saved my life, and then this quick start guide, which is 45 minutes, is all you need to know to get you started on starting to do the work in your head on your own with this system as your backbone. Okay, so that's it. Peace out. Love you.